my name is James Doble and I'm the Deputy Returning Officer for Cherwell District Council and South Northamptonshire Council. On Thursday the 4th of May 2017, Oxfordshire and Northamptonshire County Council elections will take place. At the time of filming this video, there are no scheduled by-elections. However, in the event any by-elections are called and you're working one of these stations, the elections team will let you know. You may be aware that the way people register to vote changed in 2014, and this can have an impact on you when electors come to your station and they aren't registered to vote. Previously, registration was done by the householder, who was responsible for completing the registration on behalf of all residents eligible to vote in the household. What we have now is individual electoral registration, or IER. Under IER, everyone in the household who is eligible to vote is now responsible for registering themselves and ensuring they remain registered by returning forms to us as part of the annual canvass or any other review we carry out. Following positive feedback from the May elections and June referendum last year, we're using the text system again this year. As was the case last year, you will use the system to check in and let us know that your polling station is up and running, but we've listened to your feedback and you will receive a text back from us to confirm receipt. This may not be immediate, but your text will be acknowledged. You'll be able to use the text system throughout the day to contact us with any minor queries or questions. Of course, you can and should call the control centre if there is a serious issue or you have a query that needs a quick response. If you do call the office, it's important that you do not hand over your phone to members of the public. You must give them the main council number and let them call themselves. In the event of a higher than expected turnout, you'll need to take positive steps to address this. If you experience high volumes of customers at your polling station, you should contact the Elections Control Centre immediately and we will dispatch resources to assist you. You'll be given a lot of useful information. The majority of this will be reference material or instructions and guidance which will be of benefit and assistance to you on polling day. Please do ensure you read through the Electoral Commission handbook and look through your pink folder. We've listened to feedback from 2016 and included some additional information in the pink folders and updated guidance to help make polling day go as smoothly as possible. As usual, inspectors will be out and about across the districts to provide assistance to you. Inspectors will visit polling stations throughout the day and you should expect at least a couple of inspections. Inspectors will have ID badges and introduce themselves to you when they come into your polling station. In your pink folder you will find the names of the inspectors covering your area. However, if circumstances require, we will deploy a different inspector to your area. The inspectors will check all is okay in your polling station, take any postal votes that have been handed in, and generally check everything is going well. Accuracy during the elections is vital for all of us in whatever role we have. Your attention to detail and accuracy helps the whole operation, so really do be careful when issuing ballot papers and make sure your numbers tally at all times. At the close of poll, anybody in the queue at 10 PM is entitled to vote. You should manage this process by giving the last person in the queue a ticket, which will be in your stationery pack provided within your ballot box. Anyone who is given a ticket should be issued with the ballot paper and is entitled to cast their ballot. When all electors entitled to vote have left your polling station, you should complete all paperwork and tidy up. Remember, you should bring back everything you take with you, unless you are advised otherwise at the presiding officer briefing. You have a great deal of paperwork to complete. We would ask you to take your time in completing it. Presiding officers, do make sure you take a look at your paperwork in advance of polling day. A good tip is to set out your paperwork in the afternoon in preparation for the close of poll. And if you do have any queries, you can either ask an inspector when they visit or text the control centre. When you complete your ballot paper account, it is vital that the arithmetic adds up. Please take your time and don't rush, as this could cause significant delays when we come to the verification and counting of the votes. Please make sure your ballot paper account is attached to the top of your ballot box. This piece of paper is vital when it comes to checking in your ballot box. Without it, the verification and count cannot proceed, as we cannot verify your ballot box against the number of votes cast. It's not a race to get back to the ballot box drop-off point, however we would like you to do so in a timely fashion. You should take your ballot box and equipment to your allocated drop-off point as set out in the pink folder and follow the instructions of staff at the drop-off point to ensure the process is as smooth and fast as possible. After you have dropped your ballot box off and head home to rest, what happens next is we verify the ballot papers at our local count centres, Spiceball Leisure Centre for Oxfordshire and Toaster Centre for Leisure for Northamptonshire. Then, once the verification process is complete, the ballot boxes will be transported to the central count in Abingdon for Oxfordshire and Kettering for Northamptonshire. The count will be held on Friday the 5th of May. We are asking you to watch this video and then complete a short online questionnaire as mandatory training for working in a polling station. As detailed in your appointment letter, you will be paid a fee as part of your election payment. Make sure you watch the video carefully, as it will contain the answers to all the questions. Thank you for agreeing to work at the County Council elections in May. Working on an election in any capacity is extremely important, and we really do value the key role you play. Again, I cannot stress enough the importance of accuracy on election day itself. especially when marking voters in, and of course the professionalism that is required of you when representing me as Deputy Returning Officer. Do make sure you read the handbook and information provided to you, and if you have any queries, please do contact the elections team. Once again, thank you for agreeing to work for me, and I hope you have a good day on Thursday the 4th of May.
Hello and welcome to the elections training video. Today we're going to be covering 6 subjects. Please pay close attention to this video, as at the end we'll be asking you to complete a short questionnaire. But don't panic, you'll find all the answers to the questionnaire in this video. So what will we be covering? In part 1 we shall briefly talk about all the things leading up to polling day and what you can do to prepare yourself. In part 2 we shall go inside a polling station, look at how it's set up and where to place those important notices. In part 3 will be a practical session. We will look at setting up a polling screen, sealing your ballot box, ballot papers, corresponding number lists, polling station register and absent voter lists. In part 4 we will see basic interaction between a voter and you, the polling station staff, and also how to deal with a tricky customer. In part 5 we shall look at some of the things going on around the polling station and how to manage them, such as tellers, visits from inspectors and the returning officer. And finally, in part 6 we shall go through the procedure of closing down your polling station and filling in the paperwork that needs to be completed before you can set off to hand in your ballot box. Right, so there are things for you to do even before you think about setting off to the polling station. Firstly, make contact with the people you are working with on the day. You should have received a letter from the elections team. In the letter it will give you the name and contact details of who you'll be working with. If these change, we'll write to you again with new details. Make contact with your colleagues as soon as possible to arrange how you'll be getting to the polling station on the day. We encourage staff, where possible, to car share, and the presiding officer is paid a fee to take themselves and the poll clerks to the station. We won't normally pay the poll clerk for their travel unless we've agreed this in advance. Presiding officers, it's your responsibility to establish contact with the key holder of the station you'll be based in. On your appointment letter, you will be given the name and contact details of this person. We advise that you make contact as soon as possible to discuss arrangements, for example, unlocking the building or picking up the key to open the station you are in, how the heating works and what to do in an emergency. If you cannot get hold of your key holder for whatever reason, please contact the elections team for assistance. Confirm what facilities your polling station has. It may be that they have a microwave so you can heat up some food, or you may need to be supplied with pound coins for the heating. It is always good practice to make your poll clerk aware so they can prepare themselves as well. Also, you can decide who's going to bring the coffee, milk or wine gums. Presiding officers will need to ensure they have booked to attend a ballot box collection session. If you haven't already done so, call the number on your screen now to book a slot with our elections team. Well, once you've completed this video and survey, of course. The session will include a briefing and you'll be required to check the contents of your ballot box. Remember, you will also need to pick up your polling screen and polling station sign, so make room in your car. So let's assume you have collected your ballot box and you have everything you need to run the election. But what exactly should you bring to make the day more comfortable for you? Well, warm clothes, try to wear non-political colours. Black, white or grey are fine. Food and drink, but please no alcohol. Please remember mobile phones and charger for contacting the elections team on the day. Something to do in the quieter periods maybe, like a book, tablet or newspaper. However, if you are bringing a newspaper, please ensure any political articles are kept out of sight when a voter comes into the station to vote. Please remember, if you do have any queries or concerns regarding the issues covered in part 1, please contact the elections team who will be happy to assist you further. So, I'm now stood outside a typical polling station. Let's take a look at what signage is outside. Take note of where outside signage is placed. Each polling station will be different, so take a look around and decide where they should be positioned. Now we're walking through the front entrance and we can see the arrows which are guiding us to the polling station. Also at the entrance we can see the opening times and the disabled access. What's the weather like? Is it going to be raining? Well, most likely. When your inspector comes round, let them know and don't be afraid to ask for a mop, wet floor sign or anything else you might need. Before we take a look at where the internal notices are going to be displayed, it is important to remember that we are using someone else's building. Therefore, check with the key holder or your paperwork supplied by the elections team to see if there are any building notes. For example, you may not be able to stick any notices to the walls because it may harm the paintwork. so you may need to address this before you even set foot in the building. When picking up your ballot box, you'll have a ballot box contents list, which will include everything you need to run the station effectively. So let's look at the signs that need to be displayed. Number 1. Guidance for voters. Number 2. Notice of poll. There will be 2 per election type. Number 3. How to vote notice for inside the booths. The only notice to be displayed within each polling booth is the one that provides information on how to mark the ballot paper at this election. No other notices are to be displayed in the polling booth. Number 4. Enlarged ballot paper. Number 5. Collect ballot papers here. Number 6. No photography. Number 7. No mobile phones. Number 8. No smoking. Make sure that there is no material that might be construed as supporting the views of any party or candidate involved in the election displayed in and around the premises. If any such materials are found, they must be removed or covered up. The layout of the room is important. Poor layout could cause confusion to the voter. Therefore, when setting up, ensure to walk the route of the voter and see whether the layout works. A few things to consider. Is the ballot box accessible for all voters? Are the signs and notices pointing in the right direction? Can a wheelchair user easily get around the polling station? Are the polling booths set up correctly? We shall cover this later. Are the polling booths positioned in the correct place, or is there a more suitable location with better lighting? If you are working in an area with a high electorate, it is likely you could be working in a double station. This is where 2 sets of polling station staff will be based in the same building but will be responsible for different streets within the area. You will be provided with a list of streets that will assist the voters in being directed to the correct area to cast their vote. Step 1. Put the box on the table so the number is facing you. Step 2. Take the lid and hold it above the box so the ballot paper slot is the same side as the number. Step 3. Fold the lid in half and click the fold of the lid into the grooves in the centre of the box. Now slide the lid forward until it clicks. Step 4. Take 3 of the rivets and push them into the holes at the front of the box so it is now closed. The box is now ready for use. Step 5. At the close of your poll, you are now ready to seal your ballot box. Slide the ballot paper slot closed and place the 4th and final rivet into the hole to seal the box. Step 1. The booth is on wheels so it will slide out the box. Remove by pulling on the fabric handles. Leave plenty of room for assembly. Step 2. Holding the handles and supporting the booth, rotate until the wheels are facing upwards. Step 3. Undo the buckle by pressing the red button. Open out the first section. Step 4. Rotate the catch and raise the writing table. The edge of the writing table will engage with the cross rails. Step 5. Repeat instruction 4 on the other sections as they are opened out. Step 6. Extend each telescopic leg until the button clicks. Push the leg back in position so that it cannot be pushed in again accidentally. Step 7. Leaving plenty of room, lower the booth until it is lying on its side. Raise the booth to its working position. This is where you may require assistance from your poll clerk. Step 8. Rotate visors to their vertical position. Step 9. If necessary, use the adjusters at the bottom of each leg to level the booth. Step 10. Give the booth one final check to make sure that all the shelves and leg buttons are properly locked. The electoral register. What is it? What do the letters and numbers against people mean, and how to mark it when someone has voted? The electoral register is a document that contains all the streets, names and elector numbers of those who are entitled to vote in the election. When someone comes in to vote, you'll need to place a straight line next to the elector number against the voter's entry on the register. Firstly, when you sit down at your table, put your ballot books in number order, starting with the lowest number on the top. Your starting number will be found on both the corresponding number list and the ballot paper account. Putting them in this order will make it a lot easier when it comes to completing your paperwork at the end of the day. Corresponding number lists. What are they and how to complete them? The corresponding number lists are for writing the elector number on, next to the number of the ballot paper to be issued. This will include the polling district reference number. Absent voter lists. What are they and what to do with them? Some electors have chosen to vote by post or have appointed a proxy. As you are there working on election day, it is likely that you have chosen one of these methods. These people will have an A next to their name on the electoral register. These electors are not allowed to vote in the polling station, even if they have stated they have not received their ballot paper. Postal vote blue wallets. What do you do with them? Although those listed on the postal voters list cannot vote in person at the station, either they or someone on their behalf can hand the postal vote in to you at the station. If you receive a postal vote, you must put it in the blue wallet provided. An inspector will pick up the blue wallet upon their inspection later in the day. Ballot paper accounts. Completing the ballot paper account is one of the most important tasks the presiding officer will undertake on polling day. Errors in its completion could cause delays at the count. Please take your time to complete the account. Accuracy is more important than speed. It relies on the serial numbering of the ballot papers, and this is why it is so important to issue the ballot papers in numerical order as pre-printed on the corresponding lists. At the close of poll, look on the reverse of the next ballot paper to be issued to see what the number is. Write this ballot paper number in box A. The number to go in box B, which is titled Number on First Ballot Paper Issued, will be pre-populated for you. Now get your calculator. You'll need to deduct B from A and write the answer into box C. Were there any spoilt ballot papers issued during the day? If so, write the number of how many you reissued into box D. To tell us how many ballot papers are actually in the ballot box, next deduct D from C and put that answer into box E. The next section we need to look at is how many unused books are left. How many full books do you have left? Insert this number into the box. Now calculate how many books you have left and times it by 100 and write this in box F. Do you have any ballot papers in a part used book? Write in box G how many ballot papers are left in this book. Get your calculator again. Simply add the figure in box F to box G and write the total in box H. Add box C to box H and write the total in box I. And finally, we finish the ballot paper account off by working out how many tendered ballot papers you have issued. If you have issued any of these pink ballot papers, insert in box A of this section how many you have given out. Write in box B of this section how many pink ballot papers were not issued. Were any of the pink ballot papers that you issued spoilt? Write this figure in box C. Now get your calculator out one last time and add A, B and C together and write this total in the box. And that completes the ballot paper account. Before polling day itself, why don't you have a test run of completing a ballot paper account to get yourself familiar with the calculations that you'll need to make on the day. More importantly, do not rush this or do not guess the answers. This is the single most important document that is needed to be taken to the count venue where all the votes get counted. Hello, I'm here to vote.
Good morning. Can you confirm your name and address?
Yeah, Fred Bloggs, 1 High Street.
£399.
Thank you.
There you go. If you'd like to go, take it to the booth and then bring it back and put it in this box.
Lovely. Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Here to vote.
I Can you confirm your name and address, sir, please?
Yeah, Fred Bloggs, 1 High Street.
I'm sorry, you don't appear to be on my list.
No,
Did you register to vote?
I did.
Have you recently moved home, moved house? A previous address? What was your last address?
1 West Street.
No, you're not on that list either, sir.
Okay. If you say you're registered, what I'll do is I'll ring up the office and we'll find out where you're registered at and what polling station you
Okay.
need to go to. Okay.
In this instance, the presiding officer made a call to the elections department. It turns out that the voter was actually registered at his previous address. However, his previous address came under a totally different ward and parish. Therefore, the presiding officer was able to obtain the actual polling station address for the gentleman and send him on his way. This is of course just one scenario. If you find yourself in a similar situation, it's always best to check with the elections department. It is possible that the elector hasn't registered, and in that case you will need to inform the voter so they can register in time for the next elections. But before stating this to the voter, it's always best to check. In the event of any error found during the day, such as a person being omitted from the register due to clerical error or misspelling of names on the register, you'll have an errors on the register form so that you can keep record of any errors. Tellers are usually volunteers for campaigners, election agents or candidates. They stand outside polling places and record the electoral number of people who have voted. By identifying electors who have not voted and relaying this information to the campaigner, agent or candidate, tellers play an important role in elections and referendums. Campaigners may contact the voters who have not yet been to a polling station on election day and persuade them to vote. There should be no more than one teller at a polling station for each campaigner, agent or candidate at any time. Where a polling place contains more than one polling station with separate entrances, it may be appropriate for there to be tellers at each entrance, but no more than one per campaigner, agent or candidate. It is important to remember that tellers have no legal status and voters do have the right to refuse to give them any information. If you get an upset voter complain to you about a teller outside, please call the elections department who will be able to dispatch an inspector to sort out the situation. During the day, at least twice, once in the morning and in the afternoon, you will get a visit from a polling station inspector. The inspector in the morning visit will conduct a short survey of the polling station and make sure you have everything in order. Don't be afraid to ask the inspector for additional equipment when they visit. Feel free to call the elections team at any point of the day if you need additional equipment. Inspectors will also assist you in diffusing any situations that may arise with tellers, candidates or agents. Again, call the elections team if you have any concerns. The returning officer or deputy returning officer will also make a visit to some stations to see how everything is going, so be sure to be ready. Other visits. Representatives from the Electoral Commission who shall be wearing a pink badge and any other individuals accredited through the Commission's official observer scheme are entitled to attend all polling station proceedings. They do not need to give advance notification of where they intend to observe, but they must always carry a photo ID badge. Okay, so we're nearly there. It's almost 10 p.m, the close of poll, and there are just a few more things to do. Although the close of poll is 10 p.m, any eligible electors who are in the polling station at 10 p.m must be allowed to vote. In the event of any queues at the polling station, call the elections team as they will be able to dispatch some assistance to you. Make sure nobody joins a queue after 10 p.m. Those who are in the queue can be issued with a cloakroom ticket. In addition to the presiding officer and poll clerks closing down the station, others can be present, such as the candidates, election agents and polling agents, police officers, electoral commission representatives and accredited observers. Poll clerk, it can be your responsibility to take down all of the signs and tidy the room and ensure it is returned to its original state. Presiding officer, you now have a very important and crucial task of completing the paperwork. Although you may want to get your ballot box delivered to the count venue or drop-off point as quickly as possible, take care when filling in the paperwork. It is far more important to be accurate than fast. Amongst your paperwork, you will have a close of poll packing instructions. Make sure you pack away all the documents in the right sack according to the instruction sheet. When leaving, make sure to clean the polling station and remember to return the key to the key holder as to any previous agreement. Right, everything is packed up and you're ready to go. Make sure you remember where you need to drop off your ballot box. When you picked up your ballot box from the elections team, you would have had a piece of paper in your pink folder telling you where to drop everything off. If you're unsure about where to take your box, you must contact the elections team immediately, as there may be a man with a clipboard stood in the rain at a drop-off point waiting just for you. You'll be provided with a polling station staff handbook. Please take some time to read through the handbook prior to polling day. You'll also find it useful during polling day. It contains a lot of helpful information, such as prescribed questions. Please read through the appendix in the handbook for further information on when to ask the prescribed questions. Health and safety and security at the polling station. The pink folder also covers health and safety information for you to read through. Anonymous voters. To protect them from harm, some electors will be registered without reference to their name or address. They will have what is called an anonymous entry in the register, which will consist of their elector number and the letter N. Some of these electors may also have further letters that qualify their eligibility to vote at certain elections. More information regarding these and all other aspects of polling day can be found in the polling station handbook. Thank you for watching this training video for election staff. The next step is to complete the survey, then it's on to polling day itself. Always remember, if you have any questions or concerns, call the elections team. Thanks for watching.